Hi, welcome to my channel. Just started it, so this is going to be the first video, so definitely welcome. My name is Gina. If you follow me on Instagram, you may know me as the Imperfect MD. And basically, I am a 40-year-old single mother who works. And my life is far from perfect, and so I thought that I would share things that I'm learning throughout this process of being a mother, and also being a working mother, a single mother. So that's kind of the purpose of my channel at this point, and the content that I hope to impart to those that decide to follow. So hopefully you will subscribe. Would love it and appreciate it. And if there are things that you want to hear about my life or my take on things, submit comments, and always put a little green heart. That's my symbol or sign. So the first video is going to be about my first big epic mom fail. Huge fail, huge fail. So we will get started with this story. So my son is about 2 years old now, and he is a bundle full of energy and a wonderful child. I really couldn't, it's totally unbiased that I think my son is the best. So recently, before Thanksgiving, I was getting dressed for work, and I have a wonderful village with my mom and my dad. We actually stay with them. That's going to be another vlog about that process, but we currently stay with them, and they are awesome and help me with taking care of Jeremy and getting ready and being a working single mom. So I was getting dressed and doing stuff in the bathroom and getting my hair and stuff done, and I was putting lotion on my face, and one of the things that I have has a little dropper, and I was running out, so I put the dropper down and was getting the last little bit out of the bottle because there is still more down there. So he started playing with it because he was playing water time. I don't know why babies love water time. Why do kids like water time? Anyway, so he was playing with water time and started playing with the dropper. I didn't pay him no mind, it was fine, and I went on ahead with my day. So got dressed and of course kissed my son goodbye, and left him in the capable arms of my mother, his Geechee, and went to work. So I get to work and I'm seeing patients, and I get these text messages on my Apple Watch from my mom, and usually it's pictures of Jeremy, so I'm like, after the patient visit I'll take a look. But she called me, and I was literally in mid-sentence talking to the patient, and she called me, so I did not answer it right then. I actually declined it and made it go to voicemail until I could finish the statement that I had with the patient. And so once I finished our little brief segment conversation, I asked the patient, excuse me, my mom just called. She knows I'm at work. She never calls because she knows that I'm at work. I need to call her back. Do you mind? And she said, no problem. So I made the phone call, and I'm very open with my patients. So I, made the phone call in the room because my patients know me, they know my life. So, and they love to hear the shenanigans that my son is up to. So I made the call, and my mom answers, and she's like, did you look at the text messages? I was like, no, hold on. So start looking, and I see this, and it's the dropper without the tip. And I'm like, okay, give me a minute. I'm gonna step out and we'll figure out what's going on. And she was like, well, I swept his mouth. I didn't see any blood or anything like that, but I heard the crunch. And I'm like, oh gosh, oh my God. So I said, okay, let me make some phone calls. I will call you right back, Mom. So I get off the phone, briefly tell the patient kind of what's going on. I need to step out of the room. Patient was like, no, you do what you have to do. You got to take care of your son. It's fine. I was like, thank you so much. So Luckily for me, where I work, his pediatrician is right down the hall. I didn't run down there, but I did call and get her out of the room with a patient. Because this was an epic emergency in my opinion. And so I talked with his wonderful pediatrician, Dr. Weeks, and she was like, yeah, so I don't necessarily think at this point he needs to go to the ER, but we have the urgent care center, definitely needs to come to the urgent care center and be seen. I was like, okay. So get off the phone with her, call my mom back, say, okay, pack him up, put him in the car, and bring him to my job. I got an appointment for him in the urgent care center for him to be seen. So my mom was like, okay. So I go back in, tell the patient kind of what's happened. She was like, fine, and get the patient discharged. And so then I talk with my CA and kind of huddle with her to let her know, hey, some stuff is going down. You need to start prepping patients that I may be running late. May have to step out of the room urgently, that there's a family issue going on, and I'm trying not to cancel patients. So go in and see the next patient, kind of explain to them that, hey, if I step out, it means my mom is here, yada, yada, yada. So trying not to cancel patients for that day, go through the entire day. Well, not the entire day, the entire morning, like trying to juggle. So my mom finally gets there. I step out of the room with some patients, go downstairs, help her get Jeremy up to the second floor, get him checked in, get him triaged. It was like awesome, butter, smooth, worked well. And then left her in the room waiting for the physician, because I'm a physician. I got to go see patients. So I knew he was in good, capable hands. So do all that. Mom lets me know what the doctor is saying, that he's going to have to go down for x-rays. So again, step out of the room with the patient. So sorry, my son's downstairs in urgent care. Gotta go see about him and take him down to x-ray. Take him down to x-ray. He is a champ. He's playing with his iPad and is doing fine. He's like, I don't know, I'm here. I don't know. These crazy women brought me here. So he does great, and get the x-ray done, take him back upstairs, and then I go back seeing patients. And by this time, it's kind of like around 11 o'clock or so, 11:30, 11:45. It's getting close to the afternoon schedule. I have a couple more patients to see, but I'm running at a pretty good clip. Then my mom tries to get me on my watch, but I didn't hear a message, and I'm like, okay. So I step out and then look at my work phone, and the doctor down in the urgent care has been like texting me, and I'm like, oh crap. So I don't even call her. I hop on the elevator, go downstairs to the second floor, and find her, and she's actually on her way up to come see me, because she couldn't get me. Yeah, so he has two, not one, but two 4-millimeter foreign bodies in his stomach. Okay, so what does this mean? This means you have to take him to the emergency room. So I call my boss, who's wonderful, and tell her, hey, this is what's going on. And I gotta go. Gotta cancel patients for the afternoon. So patients got canceled for the afternoon, and my mom and I and Jeremy hop in the car, and we go to Children's Hospital in DC. So neither one of us been there. So that's, been interesting. So we got there, figured out where to park. I dropped him off at the front so she could start getting him triaged, and go in, park, and then meet and join them up. So we wait in the emergency room for hours, and it was such an eye-opening experience. I have been a patient before. So I definitely think that kind of interacts with, that influences how I interact with patients, because I know what it's like to be a patient. I've had some medical issues, and I know what that's like. But it's interesting being a patient with your son, or your child is a patient, and kind of understanding the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and kind of looking at it from that perspective. And when you're afraid and you're terrified, and thinking about, like, I have medical knowledge. what about those parents that don't necessarily have medical knowledge and don't really understand why it's taking so long in the emergency room, or why they're having to wait, and why certain people seem to jump the line or go before them? And it's likely because their issue is more urgent. And understanding that as a mother, that some other person's child seems to be more important than mine, it was just a really eye-opening experience for me. So we eventually get back, and it's basically standing room only, so we don't get a room. We actually are lined up in the hallway, and having done emergency room care before, I definitely know what that means, that you don't need a room. Like we are trying to fit people in where we can because we're packed. So he ended up going through a second round of x-rays to see kind of what's going on, and thank God, I tell you, is nothing but the grace of God in my imperfect life. They weren't seeing what they think it may have been. Seems to be lower in the digestive tract, and so there seems to be no trauma. He is fine, and I just was like, thank God. The medical student was wonderful. The physician was wonderful who cared for us. The radiologists were great in how they handled him, because of course he screamed, and of course he cried, because he didn't understand, and this was a new place with new sounds. But they moved swiftly, they moved professionally, and they didn't get angry or frustrated with him. And I totally appreciate their care. I really do. So he's fine. So they look over the x-rays and finally say, yeah, he can eat and drink. And so I was like, thank goodness. So luckily we had some snacks for him and some juice. And when I tell you that he downed that juice like it was manna from heaven, like he had been in the desert for 5 days, I tell you, like the juice box was gone. It was so we get our discharge paperwork, and then we make the trek back to my life and to the house. And of course, what does he do in the car? He falls asleep. So it is now around about I think it was like 6, 7 o'clock, and my son is going to sleep. So that meant when he got home, he was wide awake. So trying to get him to go back to sleep was a bit of a challenge. But that was my epic mom fail. That's what I did. That's it. So some things that I learned through this process, other than being careful not to give your child glass, and what the difference is between plastic and glass, because I swear I thought it was plastic. I swear I thought it was plastic. If I had known, I never would have given him that. Is that as a mom, I'm going to make mistakes. I am. And I knew that kind of going in, but I never thought that I would make such a major mistake that literally basically put my son's life in jeopardy. But I did. And I could beat myself up about it, or I could learn from it. And I decided to learn from it, to be slower and intentional. And the other thing that I learned is that my son is resilient. God, he's resilient, and he's stronger than I give him credit for. And what I've always known is that my village, my family, are awesome. They are a godsend. I've always known that. So that kind of goes without notice sometimes, but I really appreciated them in that moment. So those are the things that I've learned through this epic mom fail. I hope that you found this content helpful for you. Hopefully you found it hilarious as I do looking back. Wasn't funny going through it, but definitely now. looking back on it, I find it hilarious. So thank you very much for listening to my story. Stay tuned for more content to be posted, but would love to hear your thoughts and suggestions and anything that you want to hear about in my next vlog. Please leave comments down at the bottom. And my signature emoji is the green heart and the lemon, so feel free to use that. Subscribe, tell all your friends. Just appreciate any feedback and support. So let this adventure begin. Stay tuned. Thanks.